What is something people are not ready to hear? I'll go first. The public school system is a polite form of incarceration. What is something people are not ready to hear?
We've been through two major recessions in the past 15 years, a global generational pandemic where we were thrown to the wolves at the expense of the rich. And everything is getting more expensive. College is more expensive. Healthcare is more expensive. Food is more expensive. Housing is more expensive. But you know what doesn't go up? Wages. And despite this income inequality being worse than it was during the French Revolution, we've seen no action on climate change, income inequality, or any of the other major issues plaguing our society right now. And the simple fact of the matter is that we are much further from legislative progress than we are from collecting heads in guillotine baskets.
What is something people are not ready to hear? I'll go first.
That everything that anybody tells you ever is always a projection of how they feel about something and has nothing to do with you as a person.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
Okay, I'll say it. Men are mistreated in this country. Men are very mistreated in this country. Think about it. They're taught to be ashamed of their nature, their masculine nature. They are, if they call too much, they're needy. If they don't call enough, then they're an asshole. If they dare open a door for a woman or offer to lift a heavy box, they're sexist. If they compliment a woman, they're a pig. If they don't compliment a woman, then they're judgmental. If they get struck by a woman, they're unable to defend themselves. If a woman claims rape, she's automatically believed and she can ruin his life and there's nothing he can say about it. If a woman accidentally or on purpose or whatever gets pregnant and he doesn't want the child, he's still financially obligated to them and money gouged for 18 years every month. I do not believe the child support system is fair. I could make a part 2 of this. Seriously, men are very mistreated in this country. You guys want a part 2?
What is something people are not ready to hear?
That naturally born females, human females, will have menstruation cycles and therefore will need the products. So let's not stop trying to be quiet whilst we are opening them in a female only bathroom. Or even when we take them out of our purse, it's okay. Everybody knows that our downstairs kitty cats need to bleed once in a while. Okay? Let's not be ashamed of that one. Everybody knows that's not potato chip bag in your purse. They know. And you don't need to hide it in your sleeves like that one. Nobody cares. Just take it out to be like, ooh, if it's tampons, ooh, swing it around town. Show them. Be like, I'm woman, hear me roar. Roar! Meow. Okay. Yeah, okay, bye.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
Tomorrow is Monday. I'm sorry.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
Here's something people might not want to hear. You know what's super embarrassing? Embarrassment. The idea of embarrassment, it's embarrassing. You know what's super embarrassing? Letting a made-up concept dictate how you live your life and whether or not you're going to be your authentic self in this life. That's embarrassing. And I know this may be harsh, but I'm saying it out of love. I'm trying to reframe it in a way that though it's harsh, hopefully maybe it'll get that, because sometimes you just need to hear it shit in a way that'll click. But don't let embarrassment stop you from living your life. Also, you're weird if you do this. If you're the type where you project that embarrassment, and don't even try to be like, oh, projecting comes from a place of da-da. I'm tired of people trying to excuse projection. That doesn't make it okay. If you're the type where you project that embarrassment onto those who are comfortable being themselves, are in a place of like they've released themselves from the shackles of embarrassment and they're comfortable being themselves, and you try to project that onto them and be like, stop, like you're being embarrassing. That's weird. I don't like that.
What is something people are not ready to hear? I'll go first. The public school.
Most people are probably fat phobic or have done something fat phobic. It's not an insult. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. We were taught this way.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
The age of your emotional maturity is the same age as your biggest unhealed trauma. This means if you're holding on to trauma from when you were 15 years old, even if you don't realize it, you're going to react to every emotional situation the same way a 15-year-old would. I personally was 21 for a long time. If you're not sure where you're holding your trauma, you can use this to figure it out. Assess how you react to situations, and then determine which age range it would be appropriate to act that way. Go back over your life in that age range and determine what the trauma was so that you can heal it and grow.
What is something people are not ready to hear? I'll go first.
We're all participating in the calm before the storm. We all understand that something big is coming down the pipeline, and if we are not careful, that something will be fascism, not socialism. Our government has been corrupted by money to the point that in March of 2020, when we were in the midst of an economic crash, the chair of the Federal Reserve was on a conference call with Blackstone Investment Group to make a plan for recovery before they notified Congress or the president, in case you needed any more evidence that Wall Street's running things. The intent of our educational system was never to educate our youth. Its intent was to create compliant, indoctrinated workers. And lastly, if the insurrectionists on January 6th had been organized in any meaningful way, and right-wing extremists had maintained control over all three branches of government, democracy for the United States would have died in January 6th, 2021.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
You're not a bad bitch. You're not a queen. You're simply in denial that your life sucks, and you're probably a shitty person. And you use that hard-ass attitude to justify your existence.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
Being neurodivergent is more defined by whether or not you conform to the capitalist system than it is by whether or not you're mentally ill. That's not to say the experiences of neurodivergent people are not real. I'm not saying that at all. I have ADHD. I suffer the consequences of that every fucking day. And all of the problems I have with my ADHD are derived from my inability to function in a capitalist society. Like, people with ADHD often mask. That's why I'm so good at job interviews. I can nail any job interview. I have never not gotten a job when I was interviewed. But I get burned out with that job really fast. 2 years into most jobs, I stop giving a shit. And I don't care anymore whether or not that upsets people. Because I can't make my brain care. I don't derive dopamine from it. I can't make the happy juices, y'all. Don't be surprised when the population grows and neurodivergent people quit en masse from burnout because the system doesn't work for us and we cannot work for it.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
Posture is pretty much irrelevant when it comes to spine health. Anything that's meant to correct your posture or maintain your alignment is a waste of money. Your spine maintains its own alignment. You don't need a person or a thing to do it for you. And as you can tell from my shirt, I'm a chiropractor, so I would know.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
You're almost 30.
What is something people are not ready to hear? I'll go first. The public school system.
Autism is genetic. It's most likely running through your family if one person has it.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
That multi-level marketing companies are legal pyramid schemes, fixed and colluded by the government. Yes, all of them. Yes, even yours. Yes, I know your friend got a car, but hers is a scam too. I know your sister-in-law makes $1 million a year. She's making it off the backs of everybody else that's been scammed. I'm sure they're lovely people, but that's what cults do to you too. Because MLMs are also cults. I'm not the only one who's proved this countless times, but I am one of them. And if this came up on your FYP or you're watching this and you're like, what is this girl talking about? Give me a follow. It can be a really tough pill to swallow. But we're ending that stigma of failure one survivor at a time. Think of this as your post-MLM group therapy. Leave a story below. Let's commiserate together.
What What is something people are not ready to hear?
That capitalism was created and designed to keep the majority of the population at the bottom. It is a hierarchy system that requires there to always be people at the top and always to be people at the bottom. That's the only way that it functions. And so the people at the top are the world's leaders, the government leaders, the people that created the social structure of capitalism. And the people at the bottom are the majority of us doing all of the work that actually keeps society running. And so the thing is that the people at the top get all the power, the money, the access. They get to enjoy all the inherent, beautiful aspects of the human experience. And they have conditioned us that we have to work so hard to climb up the ladder to be able to access and deserve what they at the top have. But the system is rigged to never allow the majority of the population to actually climb up the ladder, because capitalism would not function if they did. We all can be abundant, we can all have what we desire, just not in a capitalistic society.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
This is a good one. People are not ready to hear that nutrition and the reduction of inflammation in your brain and body contributes to mental well-being.
What is something people are not ready to hear?
All right, this one might sting some folks, but associating yourself with a political party above all else in your life and making all the decisions in your life, whether they be personal or political, based on that association, regardless of which side of the political spectrum it falls on, as opposed to judging every issue individually, is stupid and might make you a stupid person.